We hear a lot about standards, and you've got to have the right standards in relationships. But what standards do you really focus on? And what if there were a few standards that if you just put your focus on those standards, they really did help you feel more self-esteem, more self-confidence, felt safer in relationships to bring your best, to be yourself? Let's take a look at 3 standards that are absolutely essential, that when you're in a relationship, these 3 standards not only help you be your best, bring your full authentic self to the relationship, but they also make you magnetic to amazing men. Standard number 1, and this probably is not going to hit you like a surprise, but it is the sex standard. What is the sex standard? The sex standard is this: you want to match the sexual pace or the physical pace to the emotional commitment. When one of these things get way out in front, like let's say you sleep together on the first date, there's not a lot of emotional connection, definitely no emotional commitment at this point, but you guys have a sexual relationship. What ends up happening is, imagine the relationship is like a table with 4 legs, and those 4 legs represent the areas in which we build connection with the other person. There's mental connection, there's a spiritual connection, there's an emotional connection, and there's a physical connection. What happens is, and maybe you felt it when you sleep together right away, the physical connection is a full-grown leg. No pun intended, right? Full-grown leg. The whole table goes womp and tilts because the other legs grow at their natural pace. The mental connection that you have, it builds over time. The emotional connection you have, it builds over time. The spiritual connection grows over time. Those things have a natural pace when you're spending time with people. So the idea is you want to keep these in alignment so that this table grows together and is solid and stable. So the principle is this: move physically at the pace of the emotional commitment. So if you want an emotionally committed relationship, then match that standard of sex with a level of the emotional commitment. In other words, plain and simple, save sex for when you're in a committed relationship so that those 2 things align. Now, you may be in a stage in your life where you just want to have fun and have sex and not have an emotional commitment, and that's fine too. We were in a seminar, and a woman in her 80s was asked this question, if she would ever want to get married again. And her response was, get married again? Nah, I don't think so. But a little loose living, that would be fun. And the whole audience just roared. We're like, great. You are 80 years old, girl. You go have the life you want to have. That is awesome. So the reason I bring this up is because you are the highest authority on what matters to you. You get to create what it is that you want. If what it is that you want is to be married or in a committed relationship that is deeply emotional, mental, spiritual, all of that connection, then save the sex for when you're building those other things, you have that emotional commitment. One of the reasons this matters is because it protects our nervous system when we pace the relationship and protects us from oxytocin bonding whiplash. When we make love to somebody, it delivers all kinds of oxytocin bonding in us. The hormonal makeup between men and women is slightly different, and women will have a tendency to bond even harder through sex than men will. Maybe you felt this whiplash where you bond to them and you feel like there's a skyrocket of emotional connection where now the 2 of you are out of balance. One of my clients got into my coaching program and she said, okay, I want to attract an amazing man in my life, a commitment and so on and so forth. But I am dating this guy who's kind of like my coach. He's helping me in my business. He's younger than me, so much younger that I probably wouldn't want to be committed to him, but we've got amazing sex. Do I have to stop seeing him in order to attract the love of my life? She's the highest authority. She gets to decide how she wants to attract the love of her life. It's not required that she stops seeing this guy to attract the love of her life, but it all depends on her emotional state. And I said, you want to be very careful of this oxytocin whiplash. If this guy is preventing you from actually going out and opening your heart and meeting other men, then 100% he's going to prevent you from finding the other guys. And she was like, well, I think I can do both. And she's on this call going, I've got to get this guy out of my life. Like, I am so addicted to him. Like I'm so like my whole body craves him. And so she went through this very painful process of detoxing from a guy that she was sleeping with, but was never going to be her long-term guy. The reason she wanted to detox is because ultimately what she wanted was a long-term guy in her life. And it was tough, but she did it. And here's what's really cool. Right on the other side of that, she opened herself up, started going on amazing dates with amazing guys, and it really helped propel her forward. And she was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that all of these guys were right on the other side of that old relationship. So if you want a great tool for how to pump the brakes when you're in an intimate moment with a guy that you really like, you think it's got great potential, but you want to slow the physical roll, here's what you can say. The first thing you want to do is affirm your attraction for him, because otherwise he's going to feel rejected. Like maybe you guys are making out on the couch and he's like, hey, let's take this into the bedroom. And you can pause him and you say, you have no idea how much I want to do that with you right now. And I'm reserving sex for when I'm in a committed relationship with a partner. And we're not quite there yet. We're seeing how things go. Ooh, man, that is so attractive. So attractive because you affirm your attraction for him and you let him know a goal. Hey, you're reserving this. It's special to you. And here's what's great. When you reserve something that's special to you and then you finally share it with him, he's going to feel special. And when he feels special, you become even more special to him. The second standard that makes you magnetic is called the treatment standard. And what I mean by that is you want to live above the respect line. There's a line in every relationship that is called respect. And when you're above the respect line, you're demonstrating respect through your words, your actions, your behaviors to the other person. When you're below the line, there's all kinds of forms of disrespect that, whether we know it or not, actually erode the connection in the relationship. The number one foundation of every great relationship, researched by the top researchers in the country, is respect. You've got to have respect because respect is essential for trust to be built, and all relationships are built on great trust. So let's take a look at what disrespect looks like so that we can call it out in the moment and help these relationships live above that respect line. The first form of disrespect is sarcasm. Now, I know sarcasm can be fun and it can be really funny. We can laugh. The challenge is if sarcasm is at your expense or at his expense, and that's the way you guys joke, is be sarcastic with each other where the other person is the butt of the joke. That's disrespect. You want to be on the same team, on the same side, if you're using sarcasm to have fun. So sarcasm is saying things like, nice job, Einstein. Making fun of his intelligence, right? Or, wow, thanks for finally showing up. Miracles do happen, right? Things like that. And people have been raised and learned through their friends groups, their parents, just the way, the houses they grew up in, to communicate this way. But we've got to draw a line that says, we are not going to treat each other this way. This kind of sarcasm is off limits. Why? It erodes. It's like a cancer in a relationship. I'm always looking for great phrases because communication is really the tool of phenomenal relationships. How do you communicate in the moment? What do you say that actually draws you closer together versus pushing the other person away? And so you can say things like, hey, we missed the mark there. Let's reset. Having a do-over is a phenomenal tool to be able to say, look, I said that the wrong way. Give me a do-over right now. Another version of that is, hey, can we rewind? I want to try that again. Beautiful way to reset the energy in the relationship. If someone's being sarcastic with you, you can say, sarcasm lands sharp for me. Can we have a do-over with more kindness? That is so good because it's authentic, it's true, and you're asking for what you want. Other forms of living below the line in disrespect are name calling. Calling each other idiots or lazy or you're pathetic or you're like a child. Those kinds of things completely off limits. And even more so, public put downs. So putting each other down in public, like maybe you guys are at a dinner with friends and he puts you down and says, wow, she can't manage money very well to save her life. And everybody laughs. Or maybe you put him down by saying, he has no sense of direction, man. If he didn't have GPS, he wouldn't even be able to find his way home. And everybody laughs. That kind of interaction sinks the relationship. And so how do you shift that pattern? Well, you create an agreement in your relationship that you only praise each other in public. And that agreement is if there is something to talk about it, you'll talk about it, but make sure it's done privately. And then if someone makes a mistake and says kind of a joke that they think is funny, but doesn't feel good to you, you can say to them, ouch, let's not make me the punchline of that joke. I'm happy to talk about this in private. Very respectful reset in that moment. And the last form of disrespect is teasing. Now, this one might be a stretch because maybe you grew up in a house that loved to tease. Maybe that's a way that you bond and you connect. But let me draw a very clear distinction. Teasing is when one person is laughing and the other person isn't. One person's having fun, the other person's upset or angry. That's teasing. Playing is where you're both laughing. So if you're engaged and you both think it's funny, you're both laughing, you're both connecting, great. But teasing is where one person's enjoying it very much and the other person is not. My wife and I created a new agreement early on, her request, and I totally think this is brilliant. It's really helped our relationship, of a no teasing rule. I grew up in a family of we tease each other, and sometimes, just full transparency here, it is so hard for me to not tease in that moment. I'll just give you an example that happened recently. My wife and I, we love to go hiking. And so we're on this long hike and drinking lots of water. So she needed to go to the bathroom. And so she says, hey, watch the trail for me. I'm going to go into the woods over here and go pee. It's like everything in me to not say, here comes somebody, and have her go, ah, because that's how I grew up, right? Like we would do that to each other. And then she came out and I was like, okay, I passed the above the line test. I was so proud of myself in that moment. These moments matter because it brings you closer together. You keep an agreement with your partner and it builds trust. And standard number 3 that makes you even more magnetic and helps you create even more self-esteem, that feeling of safety in relationships, is this. It's the exclusive standard. In other words, it's the belief that says, I am worth the relationship I want. And if you want exclusivity, if you want a man's full attention, you know that you are worth it. And here's the principle. Early on when you're dating, you want to assume that you're both dating other people, that that's normal because everyone's meeting online and you're meeting lots of people, you're in lots of conversations, you're going on dates. And so as you date, you're going to set a personal limit for how much time, how much energy, how much mental energy you're going to invest in someone before exclusivity. So if you know you want an exclusive relationship, you want to say that up front. There's an easy way to address this early on the first date without scaring a guy away, because guess what? You cannot scare away a guy who wants a relationship by saying that you want a relationship. You can scare him away if too early you say, I want you. I want this relationship with you, and you don't even know him yet. That will scare him away. But you just declaring what you want, letting him know that it takes a special guy to win your heart and you guys are figuring things out, that will not scare a great guy away. There's this great analogy that I love that is called the 2-ladder analogy. And as I was going through my falling in love process, this is what it felt like for me. Is I was in a mentality, in a stage of my life where I was just dating. And it was a particular stage I wasn't looking to get married. I wasn't even looking to be committed. I was just having fun dating. So I was dating these women and it was all out in the open. We're going to date lots of people and it was really fun. And then I meet my wife. On my first date with Irene, she tells me that she's done dating casually and she's really looking for something special. And what it felt like is one ladder is the casual dating ladder, and you're kind of climbing that ladder, dating different people. The other ladder is the commitment ladder. Imagine this, they don't connect this way. It's not like you just climb up the casual dating ladder and eventually it becomes commitment without a mindset shift. The mindset shift in the guy is like literally moving from the casual hookup ladder over to the commitment ladder. It is a different ladder. It's a different mindset for how you're leaning into the relationship. Some guys, they'll start out on the commitment ladder. You know, you date these guys and they're already full go. They're on the commitment ladder. That's what they're looking for. When I met my wife, I was not. I was on the dating ladder. But she said she's looking for a commitment. She's looking for something special. She's done playing around. She's ready for something meaningful and serious. And what it caused me to do after that first date was think to myself, okay, we're not going to just hook up. So if I want to go out with her again, it means that I'm open at this point in my life to actually exploring something serious. And I went through a mental process where I said, you know what? I've been on the dating ladder for a little bit of time. I'm kind of feeling good about what's been going on, and I might be ready. When I would call up Irene, I was on the commitment ladder, and we slowly started to climb up that commitment ladder. Deeper emotional connection, deeper mental connection, deeper spiritual connection. We were reserving sex for when we were in that committed relationship, exclusive with one another. And what happened is, as I climbed up that commitment ladder high enough, I didn't even want to be on the dating ladder with anybody else. And I told everybody else, you know what? I'm in love with this other woman. Sorry, I can't date you anymore. I'm super in love with this woman in California, and I'm going to explore that relationship. That's why it's so important for you to communicate what it is that you want for yourself in your own life early in the dating process. And on the other hand, if you've been seeing somebody and it's not clear where you stand, here's a great phrase that you can say that can help bring clarity to the situation. You can say something like this. Say, hey, I'm curious, what is your intention here with us? I have a vision of co-creating a phenomenal, beautiful relationship with somebody. And I think like we're on a beautiful path together. And we just really haven't talked about this yet. Now, of course, you're free to want whatever it is that you want. And I just want to know, are you wanting to see other people, or do you prefer to be exclusive with us and really develop this relationship? What is it that you would love? And find out where his intention is. If your thought upon hearing that is, oh, I could never say that, I gotta let the guy lead. And remember, powerful feminine energy does not shy away from requesting what she wants, does not shy away from stating her standards. If you've been engaging with somebody and the standards aren't where you want them to be, what can you do? You can actually do a boundary reset. Let's say you've been sleeping together and the relationship isn't exclusive, but that's what you want. Then you can say something like this. You can say, hey, I've really moved into girlfriend energy in this interaction before we've actually defined things. And so what I'm going to do is dial things back just a bit to kind of match where we are in our exclusivity. Let me know, because I want to reserve that for someone that I'm building a beautiful, committed relationship with. If that's your intention, I'm open to that conversation. Beautiful reset. I love that. Just remember this. If you want him to buy the season pass, you've got to stop selling single day lift tickets. As a snowboarder, I love that analogy. I'm like, yeah, you cannot offer someone something that you don't really want to create in that relationship. Stop offering it. Offer the real thing that you want in the relationship, and that's what you'll create. So quick recap. The 3 standards are your sex standard, matching the physical pace to the emotional commitment. The second standard is the treatment standard, living above the respect line. And the third standard is the exclusive standard, knowing that you are worthy of his full exclusivity and inviting someone to be on that commitment ladder with you. Remember, standards are not about rules. They're not about controlling the other person. They are about what you are holding for yourself. And what I'm holding for you is an amazing, fulfilling, deep, passionate, connected relationship that you love. What I would love to hear from your perspective is, what are the standards that really matter for you? Go ahead and post those in the comment section below. I'm gonna love reading that. Feel my love reaching out to you, holding belief in you and your amazing love life. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.